cure. We're unraveling what is at its core. So Esther was saying, have you noticed some of the titles of the conversations over the 2 days? They're fairly unique, yes? Very unique conversations have been put together. So we were having this conversation last night that we were like, how did you come up with the titles of what we're going to have the conversations about? Do you have any guesses? How they came up with the titles of the conversations? Living, diplomacy with intuition, leading with love, profit for purpose. All these ideas, where are they coming from? They were downloaded. Yes? Esther, will you tell us about that? Can you come here and tell us? Because the titles are so beautifully curated, it's very special.
Oh, thank you very much. You really put me out of my comfort zone, but doesn't matter. So, hello. So all of these titles just came. I don't know from where, but from the energy, from love, from where we resist. So I just write them all. So, but they all come when I was driving my car. So that was the story. Yes.
You were driving your car?
Yeah.
You were driving a big mission.
Okay, great, great. But the titles was not only mine, but we share the titles with Maya, who is upstairs, having the yeah. So that was the story.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
That was so interesting. Because it's not often that you hear that I didn't think of the titles; they just came to me. They came through me, and in recognition of that is the salute to our spirits. Thank you for that. Thank you. There is something very spiritually inclined with this whole conference. If you notice, have some of you been up to the parallel rooms? Yeah? So how many of us have seen the parallel rooms? So there also, one of the rooms is the sun room and the other one is the moon room. So we're also embodying the universe right in our periphery. Shall we welcome the speakers for the next session? Let's do it. Okay. Welcoming Sonia Klopchich. Woo! It's a privilege to welcome a dear soul sister once again, but this time in her own country. The director of Vydeletsotstva. Forgive my Slovenian. Who works with a variety of organizations from various stages, from inception to rapid growth, transformation, crisis, and even resurgence. It's an honor to have you once again, Sonia. Thank you, Have a seat. Welcoming Maya Makowicz-Brencic. Ladies and gentlemen, this ex-minister of Education, Science, and Sport is now a full professor of international business at the University of Ljubljana and the vice rector for the area of knowledge transfer at the University of Ljubljana. It's an honor to have you, Professor. Continuing our conversation about intuition, turns out we talk about intuition a lot. We brought in the expert. Welcoming Tamara Belsak. Tamara is an intuitive success coach, helping people, organizations, and all of us to tap into our rawest of potentials. Tamara, I welcome you. Please have a seat. Representing the diversity on our panel, and you'll understand why in just a moment as I invite Anders Sanol. Welcoming and creating a little bit of gender diversity on our panel, bringing his panache all the way from Turkey. Ladies and gentlemen, this face, you know, he is the CFO of De Facto, a Mediterranean pioneering fashion company for men and women. It's an honor to have you. Welcome. And also welcoming Dr. Lydia Honzak. Dr. Lydia is the project manager and ICF executive coach, a startup mentor, a researcher, and an alpinist, a lady of many talents, many hats, and many feathers. To initiate this conversation, I'd like to invite my dearest, dearest soul sister, Sonia Klopchich, to speak with us on this topic. Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you, Mansi.
My pleasure.
Thank you for hosting us, and thank you really all for creating this event here, really. 3 years ago, at Women Economic Forum in India, I told I'm worried about the future of mankind on our planet, where majority of ecosystems is ruined already or used unsustainably. And in many cases, the business world has to do something with it. And I was frightened to see where the old business models are leading us to. By then, I realized that fear and worry do not help. On the contrary, they simply add to the level of fear in the world. I realized that the transformation from fear to love is needed. And we live in Slovenia. We don't live in Svirnia. We live in the only country in the world that includes love within its name. We've heard it so many times. And we have also our national anthem that really calls for synchronization in the world, saying, God's blessing on all nations who long and work for that bright day when other earth's habitation, no war, no strife shall hold its sway, who long to see that all men free, no more shall foes but neighbors be. And we all know that this was written by a poet because of whom we will celebrate a cultural day tomorrow. So, knowing that the transformation from fear to love is needed, I also knew that I have to leave something behind me. And this was the part of competitive businesswoman, highly effective executive, chair of the board also, acting in line with the old management school. Instead of continuing with the old, I opened myself for the new, for new insights, for new knowledge, for pre-sensing, and also for learn from the future. And it was love that helped me to construct a 5-dimensional structure of dynamic leadership. 5 dimensions, the first one being relations based on trust. The second one is understanding the organizational mission and purpose, as well as your own mission, and working accordingly. The third dimension is to assume the responsibility for the welfare and prosperity for all, not just for few people. Then the fourth dimension is to comprehend how we are all interlinked and interdependent. And the fifth dimension is to lead with love, not with force. I wanted to present these 5 dimensions with a metaphor, namely A-E-I-O-U, 5 vowels. Because vowels vibrate, resonate, they attract consonants, and along with them, they create words that hold meaning. The same we can apply to leaders. Leaders vibrate, and with their energy, they attract other people, and together with them, they co-create meaningful solutions. So, I had ikigai, a Japanese word. It means a life with a purpose. I had Ubuntu, an African expression, meaning I am who I am because you are who you are. I am because we all are. I had an ancient word, Greek word, oikos, meaning home and family. Greeks tell me that it is pronounced ekos, and this is the root for both economy and ecology. Oh, wow. So, then I got another word, aroha. When Jacinda Ardern gave birth to her daughter, she asked the Maori people what to name her, and they said aroha, because aroha means love. And this word is so rich on meaning that it's the right word to represent that we need to lead from higher consciousness. So, A-E-I-O-U carries the essence of aroha, ep, ikigai, oikos, ubuntu, and I didn't tell you what ep means. This is Mayan word. It means the path that connects us all, the path that connects all worlds, our ancestors, and our descendants. So, if we condense this into the A-E-I-O-U of leadership, this is a universal code for leaders around the world. This is the timeless wisdom of our ancestors, synchronized with the cosmos, synchronized with the life, waiting for us to really deploy it into the praxis. And as Pierre de Coubertin, more than 100 years ago, wanted with the symbol of Olympic circles to connect athletes around the world, I think that A-E-I-O-U can connect all leaders around the world. And I think, especially women, we are called to lead with love. And I think it's the time to lead the way in the spirit of A-E-I-O-U, in the spirit of aroha, ep, ikigai, oikos, and ubuntu. Thank you.
What is the oikos? Oikos. Oikos. Okay. I took notes. That was so beautiful. Thank you for giving us a new dictionary of love and leadership. How beautiful. You wove together the wisdom of so many ancient civilizations just in A-E-I-O-U. What a I think we need to embody that. Let's take that home. Thank you, Sonia. Beautiful. Bringing the academician's perspective, it's my privilege to welcome Maja Markovic-Brancic, full professor at the University of Ljubljana. Welcoming you, Maja.
Thank you. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for this wonderful, challenging question we have at this session. Why? Because,
she's to blame.
and I'm looking at Esther now. Yeah. Why? Because fear or authenticity are the words, the concepts, which we not talk enough about. Whether they are a cure or a core, it's even further, more in-depth question. And when I thought about what you put on the stand today, I said there's another question which I have to openly say here. And it is, are you sincere or fake in the roles you take? How many masks you put or you take if you want to perform in the roles you take and make. So it's maybe wording now only, but it's a very sincere question of every one of you who are at any time, at any position, leading people, or being at very matter to the society, taking very exposed positions, taking publicly exposed positions. I had lots of positions in my life, leading positions, some of them you've heard about, but what is my most important and very sincere position, really, in myself and for myself, is being professor. Why? You cannot be fake there, believe me. You speak to young people, you speak to young generations, you speak to your students, and I love to work with my students, because there, no one can be fake. You have to be very sincere. You have to be very authentic. You have to be very argumented. You have to be also very critical, but at the same time, you have to show that you are open-minded, that you do what you do by your heart and out of yourself. And this is what I think sometimes we fear about when we are maybe invited to take some positions. And I'm addressing all of you, dear ladies, and I know that I'm addressing the wrong society of the ladies because you are all here leading in your values, in your hearts, by what you do, to persuade other ladies, other women, to take that positions, just to work in those by their heart, authentically as they are, and by the core as they carry it in themselves from the childhood. That's all. Because then people believe you. Then my students believe me. And they like to come back to my classes, and they like to discuss with me, and they like to open the topics which we're all here talking about the whole day, the day before, and where public is really triggered with. So what is my message today to all of you, and even again to myself, is when I was challenged, whether will other people influence me, their beliefs, their behaviors, even their poses, and maybe even their authority, I always ask myself, as a woman, who am I? Am I still the one who I was before taking the position, before taking the leading role, before doing this? And if I slightly thought and felt that it's not so, then I went back. I went back to my values. And values are those who really carry us through the life. And values are those who are persuaded by other people, whether do they believe you or not. And I think that this title of the session was meant to talk about, sincerely, openly, to what extent we behave, because the perception of other people was that we have to behave like this, decide even, or whether are we just us being, maybe from others' perspective, a bit stubborn, not understanding, but still being us. And this, I think, is the crucial message of what we are talking here about and what this organization deals with, trying to share the right values in which we believe, positive values around the world. And this is why World Economic Forum is not only dealing with numbers. It's dealing with the quality and qualitative issues of their life. And this is what I think is our message. It's our contribution to the world, and is what we women can do, sometimes even better than men. But you talked, lots of you, also about the gender equality, the balance. I always believed in balance, not only gender-wise, but in balance of competences, in balance of capabilities, in balance of giving the opportunity equally, no matter to whom. Because then, after believing in that and doing that and acting on that, lots of people came back to me and said, yes, you were right. It's not the gender matter. It's the matter of who we really are as human beings, as people. And this is the word we need to share around, because then we will make the world better. We will make us better. And we will show the role models, which I think the young generation really needs. They are confused, believe me. They don't really know what values are now here. They need good gestures, role models, topics, and something to keep going on, to keep their stimuli. But if you want to find out what that is, we need to listen to them. We need to observe them. We need to see them, but not with the eyes of our generations, but through the eyes of their generation, through their eyes, through their ears. And this is what I think is also a very interesting women's agenda, because you as mothers, or women generally, we do take care much more about the society and environment in which we live. We do take care of the young generation, believe me, more than we sometimes even think that we are. It's our natural role. And this is what can bring us and also this summit together again in another way. As I listened to the students of the Faculty of Arts, I said, we should have more young voices here. We should have more young people talking to us, because then we will be forced to listen. And I think this is one of our major tasks for the future. Not only about existing values right now, but what values we will share and deal with and hope for the future. The young generation will bring this to us. And therefore, we have to be authentic. Therefore, we have to go back to our course, back to our natural course. And as our dear leader of the event here, and really an inspiring lady told us, it's about our own motivation. It's about our own spirit. And I think we are here to share it, to bring it to the stimuli of life, which we sometimes do not see, because we are pushed in second-by-second decision-making, second-by-second doing the task, making the mark that we have done something. But for what purpose, for whom, and was that for the better us? And I think we have to share all these spirits around, because if you persuade one, and that one persuades another, it's a positive roll-on in which we all believe, right? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya, for your thought-provoking perspective and for really highlighting that the younger generation sometimes can be our greatest teachers, can be our greatest gurus. So we think we've accumulated all this knowledge and wisdom, but we get stuck and stumble upon ourselves. Only if we get out of our own way and let them show us the way. And thank you also for your suggestion to have more young people. We usually always do. At the Women Economic Forum conferences, we always have students. We always encourage university, school students to come and not just listen, but also speak, because it's imperative, especially at the crossroads of the time that we are in history. Thank you, Maya, for that. Thank you. Like to, yes, please, feel free to clap on. From an academician's perspective, we move on to an intuitive's perspective. It's my privilege to welcome Tamara Belsac. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming the lovely Tamara. Are you from Slovenia?
Yes.
Oh, welcome.
Hello, and thank you. Fear is the opposite of love. And love, as science also teaches us, is the energy of creation, and we live in a creative universe. So these vibrations were actually measured by muscle testing, and fear is at about 100, and love is at about 500. And if we take one step further, we would start talking about joy, which is even higher vibration. So I truly do not believe that anyone can be a good leader if they are not being authentic. Because if people lead from fear, fear needs a lot of fuel, a lot of creative fuel goes into the fear. So therefore, not much energy is left for creativity. Yet we are only human. We are filled with human emotions, demands on ourselves, weaknesses, failures, and all the good stuff, of course. So, and all of these things we are dealing with on a daily basis, and I don't think that anyone is immune to them. So being an authentic leader also means to acknowledge that, to own that, and knowing how to use that potential, which is a negative potential, but it's still potential, and turn it into a creative potential and lead people. So there are some fears that I see when I work with my clients, especially when I invite them to step out and express themselves authentically. Those fears are connected one with another, but there are fear of what will other people say, fear of visibility, fear of being vulnerable by sharing their story, fear of being hurt, fear of rejection, fear of letting other people down, and fear of failure. And I always ask them, what's the worst thing that can happen to you? Being of your best service to the world and to the people? Because I can see and feel that on the other side of this fear, there's this huge, huge creative potential. And choosing to lead with love or joy is what can help actually leaders to overcome fear of authenticity. Of course, credibility, integrity, knowledge, professionalism, knowing how to communicate are all the base for all of that. So I'm just going to put it out there how I really feel about authenticity in leadership. Authentic leaders, especially economically independent, authentic women, will save the world. Because as we can see, the world is rapidly going into the wrong directions, much faster than it is going into the right direction. And this is all masculine energy that led us to where we are today. And here is why. Because I believe that when a person is truly authentic, there shows the level of their inner strength and also the level of their personal and spiritual growth. And we can't lie to ourselves if we are being authentic, right? And we can't lie to the others, and we can't lie to the world, and we can't stand still and do nothing about the catastrophes that are going on around in the world and stay in our little bubbles of comfort. The least that we can do is meditate and send love. That's the least that we can do, and it's been proven, the power of meditation, by Maharishi effect. So yes, being an authentic leader will save this world. That is my belief. But what does that really mean? From my personal journey and transformational journeys of my clients, I would say it takes a lot of work and dedication towards personal and spiritual growth. And I truly believe that everyone can develop their authentic leadership style and overcome fears around that by focusing on 7 areas. Become more self-aware because authentic leader knows exactly who she is. Understanding their personal values. It's also a balancing act of inner and outer motivations to stay on the path of developing of human potential. Of course, authentic leader needs to surround herself with supportive people, finding their tribe that share their vision, that share their values. Setting boundaries, which I see with women many times are not that clear where they stop and the other person begins. Stick to your core, stick to your roots, be loyal to yourself, and of course, knowing how to inspire and empower other people. So the real added value of being fearless, authentic leader is to organically be able to create this huge space, huge potential for the environment that is supportive, creative, and thriving and positive for all. And I decided a long time ago to be on my authentic path and authentic self-expression. It was a difficult path at the beginning because people were started dropping out of my life. Relationships started changing. That was hard, but on the other side, this huge space was created for new relationships that were coming into my life with deeper, more meaningful conversation, less judgmental, more respectful, and now I get to spend time in work and outside the work with people that I love spending time with, instead of spending half of the life in the work environment, especially with people that I would otherwise never spend time with. So, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Tamara. We know that the heart space expands and contracts, it shrinks in proportion to one's courage, to one's authenticity. So like you said, like you reflected, like science has proven now that the neurotransmitters in the heart, in the brain, they open. Or wait, let's talk about the shrinkage. So if we have fear on our minds, our energetic space contracts. If you have anything which is not positive, any negative feelings, let's not go there, the heart space contracts. On the other hand, if we have fearlessness, if we have authenticity, if we have love, you talked about meditation or music, the heart space opens up, it expands in proportion to the magnitude of the feeling in our minds. So this is real, ladies and gentlemen. We know, science has proven this. These are not ideas or philosophies anymore. So thank you, Tamara, for taking us on that beautiful journey of the heart space. Thank you. And we now travel to the world of glamour, all the way in Turkey. I leave you in the very trusting and fashionable hands of the CEO of De Facto, a pioneering clothing company with stores all over Turkey and in 23 other countries. Önder Şenol. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him.
Thank you. Thank you. Zdravo Vusi. Hi, everyone. I would like to share my perception regarding the authentic leadership and its challenges in today's business life. and also its presence in De facto. But before starting, I speak to you as a father of a young girl. So I want a better future for her generation and all women across the world. Koala.
Great stuff.
I am a CFO. You know CFOs, working with numbers, right? Always. But besides numbers, for example, I am a surfer. I am a dancer. I was here, interesting that 3 weeks ago in this hotel for a dance festival, Magic Slovenian Salsa Festival, and I was dancing here, there, and I'm speaking now. So, as you understood, surfing and dancing, those sort of things, play a big role in my life that enables me to control my own destiny and also influence my leadership skill as well. So, what is authentic leadership and what is, authentic leaders? Authentic leadership, it means being genuine, being yourself. I mean, not a copy or not a imitation. Authentic leaders are, self-aware and also genuine. They are aware of their limitations, their weaknesses, and all their emotions. So they also show their real selves to their followers. They don't act, in private life in one way and in another way in public life. So they are same everywhere. They don't hide their weaknesses and or their because of looking weak. Authentic leaders are able to put the mission and the strategy of the company ahead of their real interest, their own interest. They also realize that being self-actualized is an endless journey, never complete. To summarize in 3, to be true to ourselves. If we can't be true to ourselves, we can't be true to others. And second, maintaining strict consistency, what we feel, in between what we feel, what we do and what we say. Last but not the least, making value-based connections and choices. However, to be honest, we leaders are struggling with authenticity for several reasons, because we sometimes need some radical changes in order to improve our business, because there is high expectation from the board and etc. On the one hand side, we should be true to ourselves, and also we should be, successful. So through this process, our attitude and self-esteem needs to be our compass, guidance. However, this could be also a barrier. We are managing multiple stakeholders with, competing values and demanding respect from our team. So if those people cannot sense what we stand for as a leader, they will lose trust in us. This is especially true in leaders if we switch values and decisions according to whom we are communicating with at the moment. So if we are struggling with leading authentically, we need to ask ourselves, what are my core values and what is priority in these values? Actually, one of the best approaches I appreciate in my company at De facto, we give clear message to our employee that we don't seek perfection. We only seek for authenticity in the one who are in the leading positions. Our corporate culture allows our leaders to be authentic, which directly encourage the moral and ethical qualities, which is linked with also our CSR approach. De facto is a very young and fashion company. It's maybe 14 years ago we opened our first store. I'm one of the oldest one in the company, representing 3%. The age is 26. We achieved a lot, but what we achieved that I'm proud of is that in a very short time we implemented many projects in the company for our employees and for the society. One of them is maintaining gender equality. In both business and social life is the most important factor for us, for the sustainable development for our country and for our world. Moving from this perspective, we signed WEPS, woman empowerment principle in 2015 to support women in business life. Investing in people, especially women and children, and ensuring employee satisfaction are higher, top priorities. So and currently, 53% of our employees are women. Considering the fact that this is high ratio, higher than male, we also pay attention to their welfare and their commitment. We believe in power of being an example. That's why, we are coming to this sort of events to be an example for other companies in our company and also in other world. Let's talk about our two initiatives. One is related to the project we implemented in our company. We have a happiness manager. Actually, she promoted last year. She's a happiness director right now. So since the beginning, it is managed by a female. So when we see, her authenticity, her contribution to the company's organizational culture, we are becoming very, very happy. So this project, Happy Women Movement Project, we were example in the United Nations event in 2007, and we went there again, in 2019. Corporate responsible projects, social responsibility projects are also window for us to the outside of the world. Dreams Made of Fabric, that's another project I would like to share with you, which we launched just 2 years ago. We collaborate with Hope Foundation for Children with Cancer in Turkey. We started this project with great enthusiasm and also enormous dreams, which made us very excited about. What we are doing basically, we collect surplus fabrics and donate to the girls' vocational schools. And through this program, we sign a contract with the educational authorities. We visit all mayors in all cities in Turkey. So all our girls on the vocational schools produce their own products, mainly bags and accessories, by using their own, how could I say, talents. Then thereafter, we also provide logistic support, and we pick them and send them to our most running stores. And all the income, 100% is donated to the foundation. Imagine that you are a student, you learn how to design and to be sold, and also you're touching the lives of children with cancer. Likewise, in today's world, CSR performance is measured through its effect on your multiple stakeholders. But in other words, the success of the CSR and organizational culture depends on leaders' authenticity. If a leader does not behave with authenticity, even though firm has really fully, utilized this CSR activity, they will think that the company is acting like a theater. So they're not gonna trust it. So I would like to finish my speech. I am only 13 seconds. My speech with a favorite quotation from Oscar Wilde: "Be yourself. Everyone else is taken." Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Önder, for the wonderful sharing. Of course, this is a financial guy's perspective, and he says you have to be strictly consistent in what you do, what you say, and what you feel. So really a beautiful perspective that you represented, and thank you for sharing all the work that your company is doing, Dreams Made of Fabric, some really interesting work that you're doing there. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome oh yes, please, open up your hearts once again. Don't let me come in between you and the appreciation for Mr. Önder here. If we could hear from our last speaker on this panel today, Dr. Lydia Honczak, a lady of multifarious talents, an executive coach, a startup mentor, a researcher, also a PhD in biomedicine, you name it, an alpinist. We are privileged to have you today. Dr. Lydia, please, welcoming you.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all of you for these inspiring and interesting speeches. I'm very glad to be here with you. And now about me. Is it?
Just closer.
And now about me, I established 3 companies, actually. The first one was mine. That was a research company. We invented and developed new cosmetics for L'Oréal company, which was on the market quite a long time. Now it's no more, but I'm still proud of that, what we did. Then I established public fund Ad Futura, where I was director, and I was also a director for 10 years in Ljubljana University Incubator. All the time, many years, I'm alpinist, I'm still active, and the lectures I've learned from alpinism helped me a lot to build my career, to find out who I am, and also to be better in management. Sometimes when it was really tough, I imagine myself climbing, maybe a photo, very steep rocks, breathing, not breathing at all, being concentrated, being focused until it is much less steep. And this is what I visualized when it was difficult. On the other side of the rope, it's a woman, Vlasta. I actually started to climb with a man. But every time I climbed with a man, I felt like a second. It were not men that say you have to be a second. It was me who felt as a second. This is what I didn't like. So I started to climb with women. It was winter, and we started to decide, me and Vlasta, north face of Šite. The wall was covered with snow and with ice. And we were doing well, but when we were on the middle of the wall, when there is no way down, the weather was changing. It was a huge storm, winter storm, with a lot of wind. It was immediately very, very cold, a lot of snow, and we were stuck. We were stuck under the rock where we couldn't pass. We were trying to do that. We were trying to climb. First Vlasta, then me, Vlasta, me, and so on. And the day was over. It was night, and we switched off on the headlamps, and we tried the whole night. The whole night in this very cold weather, our faces were frozen. When I took off my gloves to hammer the piton to rescue, my hands were glued on the metal of a piton. It was really, really very, very difficult. And when the first light came, we managed. And we managed to climb to the top, but there was so much snow, avalanches, visibility was bad. Nobody could help us, neither a rescue team. So we came down alone, we saved ourselves alone, and this was something that let me think a lot. I would never know that my limits are so higher as they were. My power, my will. And that happened also to Vlasta. And from that time, we also trusted very much to each other. And from that time, we could climb the very, very difficult walls, very difficult climbs. And after a while, I was also invited to the very masculine team, and this is Mountain Rescue Team, as the first woman alpinist. And thank you. Other women start to climb with each other as well. And when they did that, men, they said, oh, if the woman can do that, we can do as well. And they went, but they were many times in troubles. We, women, we never say, oh, if the man can do that, we can do as well. We try to get the most information, the more information possible, and be well prepared. I will share with you another photo. You can see 7 women on the top of 7,495-meter higher mountain summit called Peak Communism. It's a higher mountain in Pamir region. It was first Yugoslav woman expedition. Yugoslav because at that time we were still part of Yugoslavia. And it was also my first experience to work, to be in the team. Again, men said, you were quarrel a lot. This is no good. Even we men, we quarrel when we were at the expeditions and when it is difficult. Yes, it was difficult. It was very difficult. We were alone on the mountain. We chose also a difficult pillar to climb without porters, without even enough information about the way. And we carried very, very heavy backpacks. Everything has to be there for 5 days, going up, climbing up, and for 2 days coming down. So there was a tent for the bivouac, there was some food, some climbing equipment, sleeping bag. My backpack was 22 kilo, and my weight was 52 kilo. So it was difficult, but we managed. We all reached the top, and we became real good friends, and we stayed friends ever since. And after that expedition, I was asked by the journalist how it is, woman, how it is the difference between climbing with woman and woman alone, and so on. And I said, I don't know. I don't think as a woman. I also don't think as a man. I think as me, as Lidia Honzak. And then I said, okay, there is a difference. Our company, Tusama, they gave us a lot of tampons and sanitary pads to bring with us, what is probably not taken with men's expeditions. But okay, now I changed my mind, of course. We are individuals, of course, but we in general belong to the population which is called woman, either the population which is called men. And women are different, and as well, men are different. And to have a successful and happy team, you must be aware of these differences. The most of my difficult climbs were made with friends, and the most of my successful projects were made also with friends. We didn't share our family problems, of course not, but we shared the passion for what we were doing. And I think this is very, very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lidia. I honestly was expecting a different kind of sharing, but what came was pleasantly surprising. What a journey you took us on. And it really reflected that mountains make no exception for gender whatsoever. You go out there with an open heart and a brave heart with fortitude in your spirit. What a journey. What a woman. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Lidia Honzak. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing your stories and your journeys and traveling from far and wide to be amidst us this afternoon and for inspiring us unendingly. Thank you so much, ladies and Ondel. Thank you very much. Let's come together for a photograph. Just to the front, great. Thank you very much. And thank you to each one of you for being with us all day. We have a short